Today, I officially declare my departure from the NFL. The reason I'm retiring is simple. My desire to exit the game is greater than my desire to remain in it. I have searched my heart through and through and feel comfortable with this decision.
Barry Sanders, when he says, "No, I was just done, and I knew it," I believe him completely and fully. And Barry stayed here, made his home here. And I think that is what brought all the fans back. And when Barry walks out on that field, when they do Alumni Day, he gets the biggest cheer.
Today, Detroit once again celebrates its adopted son. The young, humble boy from Wichita, one of 11 children, now has 4 sons of his own.
He's done a nice job of kind of blending his parents in the way that he raises his kids. A lot of us didn't have our dad in the home. Mr. Sanders was in the home, and that was a big deal, and stayed there and worked hard and was a dutiful father. And if Barry was at a game or whatever, he was there. And I see that in Barry.
From the stands, Barry Sanders has watched his oldest son follow a familiar path with a familiar name.
Barry Sanders, 13 yards.
As a high school running back, Barry James Sanders became a top college prospect.
You know, I'm just a proud parent. He's done a great job.
And like his father Barry once did, B.J. Sanders was forced to weigh his football future with family in mind.
And here is Sanders right up the middle, has a seam and has a West touchdown.
Big contingent here standing with Barry Sanders as he gets ready to make this big decision. Alabama, Stanford, of course, Oklahoma State, where your dad was such a star, and then Florida State. So, Barry Sanders, where are you going to play your college football?
He could care less, where I went. I mean, he knew that I would make the, right decision. We've always had a strong relationship, and I think just relationships, I mean, that's all you can ask for from a father is to have, just a relationship where you can, talk to him and, ask him questions and, him just tell you stories and you just, learn from, what he has to tell you.
I've told BJ this before. I don't know if he'll be the type of player that I was because I don't think he'll have the type of dad that I had. I'm a do, the best I can as a father. But I am not the man that my dad was.
And I do remember my dad telling a story. I guess he used to return punts, and I guess in high school, and he didn't like returning them. I guess he would let them bounce in front of him, or he wouldn't catch them, out of the air.
After the game on the ride home, my dad asked me, why weren't you catching the punts? I was like, well, Daddy, it was a close game, and I didn't want to run up and drop the punt and cause us to lose the game.
My grandpa Sanders, I guess, told him, you can't play this game with, fear of failure. You just got to, let the chips fall where they may.
And especially in the game of football, you are going to make some mistakes. A lot of times I did lose yards on a run, but it wasn't for lack of trying. And I can credit William Sanders for that great lesson that allowed me to be a great player and to be here today. What he said about Jim Brown, I was never offended. My dad was always the biggest supporter. I don't believe I'd be here without him. He'd always hear people say their child is the best, and he didn't want to ever just do that just because.
I think he felt like Barry knew how much he loved him and what he really thought about his talent and ability.
A lot of people think that he liked Jim Brown better than he liked his son, but that's not true. He was very proud of his son.
Mr. Sanders, he was not the hugging and I love you, Dad, but I think Barry felt it. And in the instruction that he gave Barry and the teaching that he gave Barry, I think the older Barry gets, the more he gets insight into how much his dad loved him.
As a dad who's very proud of his son, what do you wish for him in the coming months?
I wish all my sons would get married and have 2 or 3 kids. I think a man do need 2 or 3 kids to be whole.
So that's what's important, not football.
That's what's important to me. Yeah.
I'm trying to be the best parent I possibly can be. He wants all of his kids to raise his grandkids, the best way they can. So he would be proud.